It's mid-December 2025, a humid morning in rural Fiji. Outside a government collection center, the air is thick with the scent of fresh ginger and diesel exhaust. A line of delivery trucks stretches back toward the highway, heavy with crates of produce waiting for intake. Farmers stand in the dust, holding yellow delivery receipts signed by state officials as proof of their labor. Their harvest is already gone, packed away into government-managed shipping containers destined for international markets. According to the promise of the Agricultural Marketing Authority, the money should already be in their bank accounts. But when they check their phones to confirm the deposit, there is nothing but a blank balance. Inside the depot, a clerk stares at a desktop monitor that has been frozen for the better part of the morning. He clicks a mouse, waits a few seconds, and hits the refresh button on a browser that refuses to respond. The browser window simply fails to load the payment portal, displaying a sterile timeout error instead of a confirmation. Payments fail. This is the dead digital ledger. The AMA was built to be a state-run financial pipeline, a high-tech guarantee for rural livelihoods across the islands. It was sold to the public as a way to ensure the operational integrity and security of the national food supply. But the digital gates have quietly collapsed, leaving the physical world idling at the side of the road. While the government-backed software sits in a state of system downtime, the physical reality for the producers is much louder. Farmers who have already delivered their goods find themselves unable to buy the fuel required for the next harvest. They are the vulnerable links in a supply chain that has suddenly lost its pulse because of a database glitch. There is no cache, no manual backup, and no official timeline for a fix to the centralized processing engine. Just a line of idling trucks and a technical root cause that nobody in the central office can properly explain. What happens to a nation's food supply when the software meant to pay for it simply stops working? This is the story of how a single digital error paralyzed an entire country's agricultural heart. The Agricultural Marketing Authority, or the AMA, wasn't supposed to be a bottleneck for the nation's primary producers. It was established as a government-backed financial processing engine designed to modernize the way the islands do business. The mission was simple: provide a guaranteed market for farmers in the most remote, underserved corners of the territory. For decades, these rural supply chains relied on fragmented middlemen and volatile, often dangerous cash transactions. The AMA promised to replace that legacy uncertainty with a centralized digital payment system that offered total transparency. It was marketed as a high-tech financial pipeline where infrastructure would finally catch up to the needs of the land. Under this system, a load of ginger delivered at a collection center would instantly trigger a digital purchase note. This wasn't just about administrative convenience. It was about the literal financial solvency of thousands of agricultural households. Government officials spoke frequently in press releases about operational integrity and modernizing the rural economy. They built a massive centralized database to track every crate, every kilogram, and every cent flowing through the ports. The system sat at the heart of the National Food Distribution Network, serving as the brain of the agricultural sector. By late 2025, the transition from paper ledgers to the digital cloud was considered nearly complete and highly successful. The state had effectively funneled the nation's survival through a single piece of proprietary government software. But a centralized system is only as strong as its physical connectivity and the servers that house its data. And December was proving to be a difficult month for the integrity of the country's critical public infrastructure. It started with scattered reports from remote depots describing what was initially called a minor payment glitch. At first, the AMA leadership dismissed the complaints as routine software updates or local internet service disruptions. They told the farmers to be patient, promising that the digital gates would open once the maintenance window closed. But as the trucks continued to idle and the produce began to turn, the status message on the portal remained unchanged. Payments fail. The failure at the AMA depot wasn't an isolated event or a localized problem with a single router. It was a symptom of a much larger, quieter decay occurring across the world's critical public infrastructure. Take a look at what happened in South Dakota just weeks before the Fiji system went dark in October 2025. A two-day IT blackout paralyzed the entire state government, from motor vehicle registrations to emergency services. When officials finally conducted an audit to find the technical root cause, it wasn't a sophisticated foreign hack. It was something much more mundane: a single set of mislabeled wires in a basement server rack. One technician's clerical error in a physical server room had effectively unplugged the digital life of an entire state. This is the absurdity of the modern financial pipeline. It is a massive structure resting on a foundation of tiny, fragile details. In Waterbury, Connecticut, the breakdown moved from the world of data into the most basic physical necessities of the city. A 6-day outage of the city's water system in December 2025 left thousands of residents without any utility. The city planned emergency repairs to the aging pipes, but for nearly a week, the centralized system simply ceased to function. The promise of a centralized digital system is always efficiency and the elimination of human error. The reality is often a single point of failure that no local worker is physically equipped or authorized to fix. By February 2026, the perceived fragility of these government systems invited a more predatory kind of failure from the outside. A cyber attack began targeting local government payment systems across multiple regions, exploiting these known fractures. The AMA portal in Fiji didn't just experience system downtime during this period, it seemed to lose its functional pulse. The digital gates that were supposed to protect the financial security of rural livelihoods were now a physical barrier to them. On the smartphone screens of the farmers, the status remains stubbornly unchanged. Payments fail. The software designed to ensure operational integrity had become the single greatest threat to the farmer's survival. It's a total loss of institutional control hidden behind the white screen of a sterile browser error. The ledger isn't just broken or delayed, it is the ripple effect of this digital silence doesn't stay confined to the government collection centers or the IT offices. It moves directly into the kitchens and bank accounts of the primary producers who provide the nation's food. FBC News reports that farmers struggle to meet their basic daily needs as the payment delay enters its second week. They hold the signed paperwork and the yellow receipts, but they remain unable to access income for work already completed. In the capital, officials remain vague about the specific technical root cause of the prolonged system downtime. But the pressure is mounting globally as these centralized, state-run systems begin to stutter and fail simultaneously. In San Francisco, city supervisors blast PG&E after a series of massive December outages left the Bay Area in the dark. They have called for a formal, public inquiry into how the operational integrity of the utility vanished so quickly. It's the same story of infrastructure collapse that played out in Waterbury, Connecticut during their water crisis. A 6-day outage there left an entire city scrambling for emergency repairs to a system they thought was automated. These aren't isolated software bugs or minor glitches. They are structural fractures in the foundation of the modern state. By February 2026, the administrative silence was broken by a new, more aggressive threat to the ledger. A cyber attack began to systematically disrupt local government payment systems, further eroding public trust. The AMA's system downtime is no longer just a local frustration for ginger farmers waiting in the heat. It has become a high-profile case study in the failure of critical public infrastructure to meet its basic mandate. Back in the fields of rural Fiji, the next crop of ginger is already ripening in the sun, ready to be pulled. But the delivery trucks aren't moving toward the depots this time. They are parked in driveways in fields. Without the previous payment from the December harvest, there is no cash available to buy the diesel for the trucks. The vulnerable links in the supply chain are being crushed by the very weight of the digital gates meant to help them. The government-managed financial pipeline has effectively become a wall that no one knows how to climb. The ginger fields are ready for another harvest, but the trucks aren't moving toward the government centers. Many farmers are still holding on to those yellow receipts from December, now faded and curled at the edges. The money is still caught somewhere in the financial pipeline, visible on a ledger, but inaccessible in the real world. The official word from the Agricultural Marketing Authority is that the entire system remains under evaluation. Technicians are looking for a technical root cause, while the 2026 cyber attack logs are being audited by the agency. In the meantime, primary producers are being forced to take out high-interest private loans just to buy seed and fertilizer. They are the vulnerable links, paying the ultimate price for a software logic error they did not create and cannot fix. The government has yet to announce a firm date for the backdated compensation or a return to manual payments. In the middle of a bustling local vegetable market, there's a new digital payment kiosk that was recently installed. It's a sleek, high-tech piece of critical public infrastructure meant to symbolize the modernization of the new Fiji. But today, the high-resolution display is dark and silent, reflecting only the faces of the people passing by. There's a small handwritten note on a piece of cardboard taped over the card reader with a piece of masking tape. System offline, cash only.